Let's talk Pittsburgh Steelers 2025 NFL Draft and how the black and gold and their plans for the 21st pick in the NFL Draft, well, becoming a little clearer as we sit here today. We will start with what happened over the weekend, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers not showing up to Colorado's Pro Day. And everybody will say that's a non-story. Nobody cares. It's a pretty big story because the Pittsburgh Steelers have sent at least somebody to almost everyone's Pro Day. And in this situation, they sent Kelvin Fisher, who's just their West Coast scout. And you want to know who the only picture of him talking to at Colorado's Pro Day is? Well, it's Shiloh Sanders, Deion Sanders' other son, who's expected to be a late round safety if he is drafted at all, a defensive back who had a pretty good 40, but is not a guy that moves the needle for the Pittsburgh Steelers or really any other team in the NFL. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers have some interest, I guess, in that side of the family, but probably not the other. We talked on Friday about how the Pittsburgh Steelers, according to Adam Schefter, have one quarterback in mind when it comes to the 21st pick in the NFL draft, and that was Shedeur Sanders. Why? Because he was the only guy that had first-round talent and was guaranteed to be a first-round pick, but if he slid, how far would he have to slide before the Pittsburgh Steelers made a move to go get him? I shut a lot of that down. I think a lot of you guys shut a lot of that down and said, yeah, I get it. I understand the reasoning in what Schefter is saying, but at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders doesn't make a ton of sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers because he comes with outside noise that maybe the Steelers are not looking to have. And I think the Aaron Rodgers situation is bringing up a lot when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, realizing that, oh man, every time they take a step forward, they take two steps back in the realm of drama and sagas and situations that continue to make negative headlines. Sanders, from what I've been told, is a name that could be on the Steelers board that they are not going to remove, just like they didn't remove Russell Wilson, no matter how long they were willing to wait, how many other options had to fall off the board before Russell Wilson actually became an option for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When it comes to Shedeur Sanders, it's almost the same boat. The Steelers would look at it and say, okay, the 21st pick is upon us. Shedeur Sanders is here. Kenneth Grant is gone. Walter Nolan is gone. Derek Harmon is gone. Emeka Ibuka, Matthew Golden, Omarion Hampton, Ashton Genty, Gray Zabel's off the board for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Malachi Sparks, Nick Imuare, all of them gone. And the Steelers are sitting there going, all right, Shedeur Sanders is the pick. This looks like the guy that's going to potentially be our franchise quarterback for the next X amount of years. That is most likely what would need to happen for Shedeur Sanders and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And while a lot of people say, hey, second best quarterback in the NFL draft, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers look at it and say, second best quarterback in the NFL draft in a bad draft class where there are other players with just as much upside, not a ton. And I don't think anybody outside of Cam Ward really has that massive upside. Jalen Milroe does, and we're going to talk about him in a second, but a different realm, a different situation here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And at quarterback, Shedeur Sanders is a guy that, okay, yeah, pocket passer, has a great arm, can make all the throws, is accurate, but he said it himself. He brings cameras everywhere he goes. And his father brings cameras everywhere that they go. And you don't know if you want that if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. I doubt that they do. I think Deion made a short list of teams that he'd welcome Shedeur Sanders to. The Pittsburgh Steelers were not on that list. And I think they, amongst other teams, looked at it and said, all right, sounds good. Maybe we'll feel the same way about Shedeur Sanders. I don't believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are very high on Shedeur. I don't. I think that they obviously recognize the talent. Everybody does. But this just kind of shows that, well, they don't really view him as the Jackson Dart, as the Tyler Shuck, they didn't go to Cam Ward's Pro Day, but it's more so, this is not a guy that we're going to involve ourselves heavily with. If we get lucky and a lot of other things happen, there's a conversation to be had. But right here, right now, I don't think Shedeur Sanders is that guy. Obviously, Adam Schefter does. We talked about it on Friday. The Pittsburgh Steelers, along with many of us, have sat down and said, you know what, we're going to show our hands a little bit, and we're going to say Shedeur isn't on our list and everybody should start paying attention.